I started off making $1,000 a month and I have just hit my 20K month. I was thinking at that moment, this has to work. My wife was laid off for the past 4 months at the time. I got laid off that last month. I knew it was gonna be a massive risk for me. Like, it wasn't gonna come out of my cash flow. It was gonna be on credit card. I knew this was gonna be a challenge with my wife. I was like, bro, can I make this amount of money? When you were like, definitely, like, I took your word for it. If you give me the tools, I'm gonna make it happen. I've tried so many different businesses, but never got to a point where it was sustainable. Unless I start to do ads or lead acquisition, this is gonna be a business that may not be sustainable, or I'm gonna be consistently chasing clients. You were just speaking in a way that could relate. I have kids, you have kids. It's a different ballgame. This is one area out of all the different businesses that I've had that I was probably lacking, and that was the understanding of marketing and lead acquisition. A video without lead acquisition is dead. If you understand lead acquisition, you'll never go hungry. I've always known and I've always believed that I could accomplish almost anything that I want, because I believe in myself. All I need is the right guidance. My roofing client grossed under $100,000 with $1,900 of ad spend in 30 days. Brand new window client has done $50,000 in 10 days. He's spending $70 a day. Yeah, so my name is Giovanni. I'm out of Miami. I own a media agency called It's You Media. And I've been doing this for now probably just 6.5 months, maybe 6 months. I started off making $1,000 a month, doing no ads, just content. And I have just hit my 20K month.
What is going on, man? That is so amazing. Giovanni, welcome, dude. I'm so pumped to have you here because I remember having our call in December of 2024. And I think the conversation was like, I think you asked me like, dude, like, you think I can hit $10,000 a month? And then I was, yeah, dude, 100%, like without a shadow of a doubt.
Right.
And I think 3 months in, you hit that, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
right?
3 months I hit my first.
What were you thinking when you asked me that? Like, or I can't remember specifically how you asked me, but I know it was like along those lines.
What I was thinking at that moment when I asked if I could hit 10K a month was, this has to work. I wasn't in a good financial position. My wife was laid off for the past 4 months at the time. I got laid off that last month, which is just crazy. Yeah. And I knew that this was going to be a big investment, and I knew it was going to be a massive risk for me. Like, it wasn't going to come out of my cash flow. It was going to be on credit card. So with all of the different ventures that I have been on and pursued and worked hard at, I knew this was going to be a challenge with my wife, particularly. So I was like, bro, can I make this amount of money? And I'm a trusting guy, when it comes to learning from someone that I know knows more than me. So when you were like, definitely, like, I took your word for it. I was like, if you give me the tools, I'm going to make it happen. So
for sure. Dude, that's so amazing. And that's why I'm so happy now that we're here, like 6 months down the road. It's like, to me, this is like monumental, right? It's like, you did it. You're on not only did you make 10K a month, but you've already exceeded that, which is phenomenal. So, I mean, honestly, super proud of you, dude. Super proud of the work that you put into it. Take me back from the very beginning, right? So, okay. So you said some really interesting things earlier. And I think a lot of people, when they're considering joining the FOD collective, it's like, maybe most people are considering joining because they're going through a hard time, right? Either it's like they don't have a system to bring on clients consistently. Maybe they bring on clients, but they keep losing them. So they're like, they don't really have like good retainers. They just get one-time projects, but they're always chasing people down, or like other stuff is going on, right? I guess like take us back a little bit. Like, what had you tried in the past? And then where you got to a point to finally say, hey, you know what, maybe I should talk to Luis and do this with him.
Yeah, so I think the question is, what haven't I tried? I've been an entrepreneur of all sorts. I had a clothing line. I've had a trucking company that I was running out of Atlanta, which was just hell on earth. I've always been in some way, shape, or form involved in social media. I had a podcast, but I wasn't really doing the content. I learned how to do content in media from people that I was hiring. So I wasn't like this media guru whatsoever. I just had an eye for, quality work. and YouTube was my friend. But I've tried so many different businesses. I've made a little money here and there, but never got to a point where it was sustainable.
Yeah.
And when I started working with my first client, and it was just content, I started to do some research and realized that unless I start to do ads or lead acquisition, this is going to be a business that may not be sustainable, or I'm going to be consistently chasing clients. So
Yeah.
as I started to plug, like, lead acquisition into into the algorithm, you know what I mean, social media, online, Google. One day I ended up coming across your ad, and you were just speaking in a way that could relate. Like, I have kids, you have kids. You already know what that is. It's different for a single young man to invest and put all of his time into a business opportunity. When you're married, you have responsibilities, you have children, you have a ton of different obligations outside of work. It's a different ballgame, And I related to what you said, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to put energy into something else, this is one area out of all the different businesses that I've had that I was probably lacking, and that was the understanding of marketing and lead acquisition.
100%, dude. What was it? You kind of said earlier, like you had done a bunch of other businesses. What kind of then brought you to like, oh, you know what? I should start a media agency.
Honestly, I got laid off. And I had a friend of mine that was doing media and needed content. And things weren't working out really with who he was working with. And he was like, "Hey, I've seen some of the work you've done. Can you do it for me?"
Mm.
But again, that's what led to media. That's it. That's really what led to media, because again, media was never something that I thought I would be doing as a business opportunity. When I
For sure.
started doing that is when I started to look into how can I make this a more robust company? How can I make this a business that has longevity,
Yeah.
where ultimately videos can um, have some value for these clients versus just making pretty content.
Yeah.
And when I started looking into that, I came across you, and you started talking about, the power of videos with lead acquisition, because a video without lead acquisition is dead. It
Yeah.
really does nothing much for a client.
100%, dude. So then you had just gotten laid off. You said your wife had been laid off for four
Yeah,
months, right?
right.
Man, like tell us a little bit about that. Like what was going through your head? Like
Yeah,
what was life like?
yeah. It was rough. It was rough. I mean, I've been in many tough situations before.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a man of faith, so I just put my faith in God in those moments. But I also do something about it. Like, I was diligently, looking for the next opportunity, and again, we had already dipped into past our savings. Started using our credit cards for certain things, and that's why it was such a hard situation to pull the trigger, with
Yeah.
you. And I ended up saying, "Hey, bro, like, I might need you to talk to my wife in this case,"
Yeah, I remember that.
which thankfully you did. And my wife was gave me the go to be like, "All right, let's go for it."
Well, and so like it takes a certain type of person to be like already in the red and then be
Right,
like, dude, I need to do this, right? It's like
right.
I guess like what yeah, like what were you thinking, right? Because like most people would just be like, nah, I
Right, right.
can't afford it, I can't do it, right? I guess
Yeah.
what was going through your mind at that point where you're just like, dude, you just ended up pulling the trigger anyway.
Yeah, man, I am not afraid of losing. I think that's probably the biggest factor um, that allowed me to not just make the decision, but confidently make the decision. I understand that risk is important when it comes to building anything that is worth having. If you're not willing to risk, um, it's the result is probably going to be subpar, and that's not the life that I'm looking for. I'm looking to build something that goes beyond me, something that is inspiring to my children and those people around me. So I knew, regardless, like, if I want to build something great, I'm gonna have to take risk, and that would always be the process. It's not something that I'm no longer taking risks once I get to this point. Risk is just always part of it.
Yeah.
And then another thing is, like, just I've had to go through seasons of, like, deconstructing the concept of fear of failure. Like, I've heard from some of the most successful individuals in their own space saying that the difference between them and the average person is that they're willing to fail more than the other.
Yeah.
So those are the constructs that I took into this opportunity. It's like, look, man, I can't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me that 10K a month is possible, and you didn't just say it was possible, and you didn't say these words, but I'm gonna paraphrase the what I got from you, and that was, not only is it possible, but it's the floor. It's not a ceiling, it's the floor. So the
Yeah.
way you responded to me got me thinking, like, okay, 10K a month sounds like a kind of a like, because you were like, yo, not only you're gonna be able to do this with no problem, right? And when you tell me that, like, it says, okay, my expectations are too low, you know. So that gave me even more confidence, because it let me know that, hey, I could do much more than just 10K a month in this business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the first milestone, but it is the first milestone, right?
Right, right,
There's way more milestones to hit. And
right.
so dude, that's so amazing, man. Like I love the fact that you were just willing to take action on it. And I think one of the things that we tell people all the time, it's like, look, you only need two characteristics to be successful in business. You got to be fast and you got to be stubborn. And I think like those are two characteristics that you embody really, really well. It's like you don't overthink things, you just take action and you do it. And hey, man, sometimes when you run, you're gonna trip over, but being
Right,
stubborn means you get back up and you try again. And
right,
one of my good friends says this all the time. He's like, even if you fail, you'll still get to the end result faster because you would have
right,
know what didn't work. Whereas most people just keep overthinking things and they never take
right, right.
action, right? Which is like obviously then they never end up getting it anywhere. Dude, so that was huge. Tell me a little bit about the interaction when you're like presenting this to your wife, because obviously, like we obviously work with a lot of married entrepreneurs, and so speaking to your wife about it, which hey man, we do all the time, right? We have to.
Yeah,
Um, you have to have them on your side, because as a business owner, it's like that they're your number one cheerleader and oftentimes your number one supporter, right? So it's like having your spouse on the same side as you is like super important. I guess what was that conversation like when you're like, hey babe, I'm not working, you're not working, we're already dipping into credit cards, like can we make this huge investment?
yeah. So I remember exactly what happened. I was in the kitchen and I had both hands kind of like planted on the the countertop, and I just had my head down, just kind of like in deep thought. And she walks in and she's like, "Babe, what's wrong?" She was like, "Babe, what's wrong?" And I was like, "Babe, um, I have something I want to talk to you about, and I just need you to hear me out." And she was like, "All right, what is it?" Like that. And I was like, I think I found the missing piece of the puzzle, you know? And of course, I'm framing it that way because she knows we've done a lot of things. Even before I met her, I did a lot of things, you know? Um, but this was lead acquisition, man. Something just felt right about it, you know? It just felt right, you know? And then, hearing different people say, like, if you understand lead acquisition, like you'll never go hungry, you know? Like,
Mhm.
there's something about that you know, I was like, this is the one thing I haven't learned yet, you know? And I just told her, I said, hey, I know the situation that we're in. I know what this looks like. I know this is a massive risk. Um, but you know, if you trust me, you know how I work, and I'm gonna give it everything. And I really believe that I can do something with this. And
100%.
she just got quiet, you know what I mean? And didn't respond, didn't say anything, and just like, I don't even remember what happened after that. I just knew, I was like, man, maybe if I tell her he's willing to talk to her, then maybe she'll, you know. So then I was like, babe, what if I was like, I can't explain this to you the way he can, because I honestly don't understand all of it, but I do understand it enough to know that this could be effective, right?
Yeah.
So she was just like, why do I need to talk to him? Like, I said, would you just be willing to hear him out for a second? And she was like, okay, whatever. So after, I mean, clearly you guys got on the phone,
Yeah.
and she was like, I don't know why he felt like I needed to talk to you. I'm gonna let him. I trust him. I'm gonna let him do it. X, Y, and Z. You
Yeah.
know, I hope that it works out. X, so I mean, that was how it was. It was messy. It was messy. It wasn't a smooth. I didn't have a perfect pitch to say anything to her.
Yeah.
I believed in it, and I wasn't gonna make a decision without her. Also saying, "Hey, I'm on board with you," and thankfully she did. And it paid off.
That's so amazing, dude. I mean, I think it also on top of that, it just speaks to the character of your wife,
Right, right.
like, and I mean, obviously, I got to talk to her. I mean, she's a badass, you know, and so like it's so cool, and I feel like I mean, my wife's the same way. It's like it gets to the point where, hey, like I like obviously being in when you're married to an entrepreneur, it's like they have like your spouse needs to be conscious of the fact that like you're gonna live in risk. You know what I
Right,
mean? And like they have to also just be very comfortable with the fact that like, hey man, like sometimes it does mean like making an investment. But that's
right,
the what's so great about this is that a lot of people think of it as a cost. I'm like, dude, it's an investment, man. Like it's going to
right,
school. Like like we obviously pay for those of us who have degrees, we pay thousands of dollars to have this document
right,
that doesn't really make us any money. Like, you know, and some people are still in debt for it. You know what I mean?
right,
But like
right,
when it comes to investing in something like this, like, dude, this is night and day different, like different, and this is something that you're going to learn that you're actually going to make money on. And so you're investing the money to get a return, right? Um, Dude, so that was like anyway, so super cool. I remember talking to her and I mean she had some good questions. And I tell people all the time, like, yeah, dude, go talk to your wife. I'm the same way. I'm very gun ho. Like I'm just like, boom, let's make decisions. We make
right,
decisions
right.
fast. But my wife always has the good questions.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah. So
I
it's like,
agree.
okay, she always asks me the good questions, and then I have to come back and kind of think about it a little bit more. And then I'm like, all right, well, let's do it. And if she lets me, if she asks me the questions, and then after she asks me the questions, I'm still like, no, this is the way what we need to do. Like she's typically on board, which is pretty
Facts. I
awesome.
agree. I agree. Same here. Same here. My wife is definitely very. She'll allow me to take the lead on certain things. Her ask of me is, if you're going to take a lead in a space where it's going to put us both in a difficult position, my ask is that you give it everything. You know,
Yeah.
and that's always the key in our relationship. Like anything that I've um, got involved in, she won't tell you that I didn't give it everything.
Yeah,
You know what I
100%.
mean?
And
Um,
that's huge. I mean, man, I just to even harp on that a little bit, like I feel like you have to be willing to just go all in, you
always,
know.
always.
And it's like some people, it's like, dude, I am willing to take the risk because I believe in like I'm willing to gamble on myself,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And so it's like, okay, like the information's there. It's your decision to take action on it or not, right?
Right.
And like I've had people that join and don't take action. And it's like one of the most like
Man.
sucky things, but it's like and that's why I like working with people that are in tough situations because they have the fire under their butt to
Right.
encourage them to take action. But it's like, dude, like I've been in so many situations similar to yours where I'm in the red, I'm in the hole,
Right.
and the only way that I know how to dig myself out is by one, investing, like learning a new skill set. And then two, which has been the other big piece, is like running ads.
Right.
like, like those two things have always gotten me in such out of bad situations. And part of it too is like I'm okay to take that extra risk because it's still putting money on a credit card or whatever it is, but with the intention, I'm like, dude, I'm okay in taking this risk because I believe in myself enough to work my butt off.
Right.
And I think that was like obviously the same situation you were in, which was like super cool.
Let me highlight something as well,
Yeah.
because um, I've always known and I've always believed that I could accomplish almost anything that I want because I believe in myself. But I've also said to myself, all I need is the right guidance. I've
Yeah.
always said that, you know, me being an athlete and going back to my sixth grade year when I was like this 60-pound, curly hair, glasses, you know, not a muscle on my body. And I remember a friend asking me like, "Hey, do you want to join the wrestling team?" And the only wrestling I understood was like wrestling with my cousins, and they were all girls. So that's the only wrestling I was aware of. But I was like, "Yeah, sure," you know.
Yeah.
And I remember going to my coach, and it was this like stocky, bald headed guy. And I go to his door, and my friend is like, "Hey, he wants to wrestle." And my coach looks at me, and he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right." And he shook my hand. And I remember 2 weeks into that, we were doing like tryouts where we were just like learning the basics, and then we had to wrestle off against different people in our weight class. And I was the smallest one in my group. And after that 2 week trial, my coach pulls me to the side, and he was like, "I want to tell you that if you stick with this, you're going to be great." And I'm like, I'm getting a little emotional right now because me being who I was, I've never been told that before. But he saw something in me, and he was like, if just stick with this, I'm gonna show you the way. But if you do it, you're gonna be great." And sure enough, I was undefeated by my eighth grade year, was the youngest state champ in my high school. Like it all came to pass. And I've always carried that. Like I've always carried that reality that when you have authentic, solid mentorship, someone to guide you, someone that's been there, done that, but is willing to take you by the hand and show you, I knew that that's what I was missing. You know what I mean? Like I knew that solid mentorship is hard to come by, and I think that's why a lot of people are so skeptical, you know, when it comes to like another mentorship, another course. I've paid up in the upwards of $30,000 just in courses, you know,
Yeah.
over time. And it really is hard to find people that actually want to see you win. I've had people that was quote unquote mentoring me, but they really didn't want to see me win. They didn't want to see me get past where they were. So they would only tell me certain things, but the secret sauce, if you will, was never shared. And
Mm.
I'm not understanding why it's not, my business not moving forward. With you, it was very different. Like stepping into this mentorship and seeing how you were actually like real time helping me do this and put this together and X, Y, and Z. And you went as far as to say like, my goal for you, Gio, is to make as much money as quickly as possible, knowing that you took this risk and made this investment. You knew what I needed at the time. It wasn't really to understand everything in the business. At that moment, it was like, no, I need to help you make some money.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Like
Yeah.
what I paid for was made back in under 3 months. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And some. So it's
Yeah.
that was the difference.
Dude, I appreciate you sharing that, man. That means a lot. Yeah, I guess tell us a little bit about like I don't think we had talked. I think we briefly talked about this in the past, but like tell us a little bit about some of the past experiences. Like I know you had mentioned you had taken like a course on like how to run Facebook ads, but it wasn't really like doing it
Yeah,
for you, or
yeah,
you had
yeah, yeah,
trouble
yeah.
with it.
As a matter of fact, while I was doing research on you, I already paid for like a Facebook meta ads course,
Hmm.
and it was super confusing. Wasn't very helpful at all. A lot of the content, um, like even the layout of what Meta was at the time and Facebook at the time, it didn't match up with what I'm seeing on my screen. So
Yeah.
it was super frustrating to follow because I'm not getting like one-to-one help or anything like that. So none of it made sense. It was like Chinese in my brain, and I'm not a tech guy.
Yeah.
You know this. Out of all your students, they probably all know more the mechanics of a camera than I do. You know, I just know that this button helps with the lighting. This button helps with. But if you ask me what name and
Yeah.
what, I'm not going to really be able to articulate that properly.
Sure.
So my experience with the course that had anything to do with ads prior to this wasn't very helpful at all. Prior to that, I did a clothing line e-commerce course. I took a course for the trucking industry, multiple courses for that.
Mhm.
Real estate course. I mean, I've taken so many different courses, and by far, this course was the most impactful. It was the most clear, I would say. And as far as hands-on help, by far, it's the best experience that I've had, by far.
Dude, that's amazing. I appreciate that. Tell me a little bit about. Okay, so I know you already shared this, but it'd be cool for you to share with the audience, right? Like that time that you were texting with your wife, and then that she, that she said that she had a comment about you joining the program. You know what I'm talking about?
Dang, there's a few. Oh no, she literally. I remember. I think at that time I was sending her a text of another deal that I closed, another contract that I closed,
Yeah.
and she texted me back like super excited, like this is by far the best mentorship experience you've ever had with a fire emoji, exclamation, you know.
I
Um,
remember, I remember when you sent me that. I was like, dude,
yeah,
I got the wife's approval. It's
right,
awesome.
right. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was cool to see her starting to see. I've never been in a position where my wife got to a point where she had peace
Yeah.
while we were spending and investing in X, Y, and Z, because either I was getting returns and it was just breaking even, or
Hmm.
I was in the red, like it just wasn't panning out.
Sure.
And this was the first time where it's like, yeah. I mean, there's so many things I could say, bro. I've never made more money than my wife ever. She has the degree. She's worked corporate. She's climbed the ladder, you know,
Yeah.
and she's always carried the weight of our finances, and that's super hard for a man that's trying to lead his family, and not in any like traditional sense of the word, but
Sure.
as a man that wants to be able to provide. Like, I want to be able to do nice things for my wife. Like, I want to be able to take her out on nice trips. Like, it sucks to be in a position where you don't fit in a job because you're meant to run a business,
Yeah.
but you're not producing the finances that could give her peace of mind, where she's not having to feel like, well, if I lose my job, we're screwed, you know? And this is the first time that I'm not just making more than her. I've doubled her income. I've doubled what she's making. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So it's like it's it's a it's a an amazing feeling for me. Like, it's an amazing feeling to know that this vehicle was the vehicle that was able to just completely change our financial status, our dynamic. There's things that we can do now that we just weren't in the position. Like, for her birthday, it's super cool because we're both UFC fans. And she wasn't like into UFC before she met me, not because she just wasn't aware of it.
yeah.
And I'm a big UFC fan, and me watching it, she started to like get like really into it, to the point where every pay-per-view fight, she's letting me know, hey, did you know what's his name and what's his name is fighting, whatever. So on our bucket list, like maybe 2 years into our marriage, our bucket list was like, hey, one day we want to go to a UFC fight, and those tickets, they're thousands of dollars per ticket,
Yeah.
um, and this is the first year, like, for her birthday, we're flying to Chicago, and I got some really good seats, and we're gonna see a pay-per-view fight together, and it's gonna be an amazing experience. We're both super excited,
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, man, that may be small to some, but for me, like,
Yeah.
it shows the power of this business opportunity and what this mentorship has been able to do for my family. And it's only the beginning, bro. Like, it is only the beginning. 20K a month is the floor. It's the
Yeah.
floor.
100%. How does it feel, dude, being able to provide that for your wife?
Amazing, bro. Amazing, man. It's like all the hard work over the years is starting to pay off. Like,
Yeah.
all of it. You know what I mean? Like, found the right vehicle, found the right mentor, and it was just like, it's like God saying, "Hey, now's your time. Like, now we're gonna see the fruit of your labor."
Yeah,
Um,
dude.
because
And
it's tough when you're putting your energy into something, and you see the roadblocks. Like, the fruit is not there. It's like working hard in vain, if you will. Sometimes it feels like that.
yeah.
But again, the right opportunities, with the right help, the right guidance,
Yeah.
the work you put in, it actually produces something.
100%. And I think, and I mean, there's a lot of value in going through that process of,
Agreed.
like,
Agreed.
you're spinning your wheels. You know what I mean?
Right.
I tell people, like, dude, it took me a decade
Right.
to actually start making money.
Right.
Like,
Right.
to not be broke. And
Right.
during that time, it's like, yeah, dude. I mean, and I mean, I don't know if it was a decade for you, but I'm pretty sure it was almost a
No.
decade. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you
No,
consistently.
actually, I was 20. probably 27,
Yeah.
28 or 27 when I really started to put my time and energy into different businesses. And I'm 37 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you're talking, 9 years of just grinding
Yeah.
until something just really pays off. And again, um, I I don't regret any of it. I feel like I've learned how to suffer well. I've learned how to work hard, and um, I lost that fear of failure, which is I think is hard for a lot of people.
I
You
think
know,
that's the biggest thing. It's like being able to gain the resilience out of it.
right,
And,
right,
and I think one of the things that I tell people all the time, it's like, look, man, like you will continue to have hard situations, right? Like you will have tough situations in your lifetime, and like that will never stop, right?
right,
What is so cool about learning how to do acquisition and then just even being in business is that one, you're developing as a person, right? Like you are forever growing as an individual. But two, it's like you are learning the skills to be able to, even when you are in a really tough situation, be like, you're totally fine.
right,
It's okay.
right.
Because you're like, dude, I've handled and I've dealt with worse things, and I'm confident that I can dig myself out of this because I've done
One
it
hundred
over
percent.
and over and over again. You know?
100%. I was just
Yeah.
watching a video today. Um, what's his name? Is he the owner of the Orlando Magic?
Not
No,
yeah,
no,
not
no. Dang, I can't remember the owner. I can't remember his name, but if I said it, you guys would be like, "Wow, how did you not know his name?" But anyway, he said, sales solves all problems.
yeah,
Sales solves all problems,
yeah,
and lead acquisition is how you get sales, right?
yeah,
Like
100%.
that is sales. Learning marketing is sales,
Yeah,
and to me, and that's why it's not to say you can't make money in other businesses. You can make money in other businesses,
yeah.
but I don't think there's any other skill set that is as valuable as lead acquisition.
Yeah. Well, and I remember in our sales call, I'm like, look, dude, like what you're gonna learn out of this, and I tell everybody this, I'm like, you're gonna learn the ability to spend money and make money,
Right,
right? And it's like, and guess what? You'll never go hungry
right, right,
because the biggest problem that exists in the marketplace is that people don't know where their next client's gonna come from. And if you can solve that problem for yourself, well then great. But guess what? Everybody else has this problem. So not only can you solve it for yourself, you'll be able to solve it for other people, and
100%.
therefore you'll never go hungry. And I remember like when you came to the house for the McAllen Collective, I remember us having this conversation. You were like, dude, like just this is it.
Right,
Like this is it. And I feel like it clicked for you. And I was just like, dude, yes. Like like because that, like, if you're looking for the silver bullet, it's always like in life and in business and well, and just in anything, it's like it's rare that silver bullets exist. You know
right,
what I mean? Like it's like too good to be true kind of thing.
right,
I can frankly and honestly, sincerely say that to me, like learning the skill of acquisition is the silver bullet. Like,
right. I
like,
believe that.
and yeah, and
I believe that.
yeah, 100%.
100, 100%, bro. I believe.
'Cause- yeah, because it's like I said earlier, like I've dug myself into so many holes, and what's gotten me out of it is just acquisition. And I think Hermosi says that all the time too, which I think is obviously just another testament to it. Um, all right, dude, I appreciate all this. Let's give the audience a little bit more of like, okay, like behind the scenes of what's going through things. So you decided to jump into the program. Cool. How did you feel when you first started? Like, were you a little overwhelmed? Like, I don't know, what was going through your head? And then kind of walk us through those first few weeks of kind of being part of FOD.
Yeah, man. When I first started, I tend to like just get super obsessive over what I'm doing, right? So I was just like locked in. Now with me being locked in and like absorbing all of the content and stuff like that, then started to come like feelings of overwhelmingness because I'm not a techie person. A lot of, you know, if you have years involved in media, you're gonna understand a lot of this stuff more than someone like me who didn't have any type. I've never really had focused time on media because that was never like a job for me, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So a lot of the things that are basic to some media guys weren't basic to me. So I just felt like I was trying to absorb a fire hydrant amount of information
Yeah.
At my speed of like diving into things.
Yeah.
But again, what brought a lot of peace to mind was knowing that I had the one-on-one help. So every time I had that meeting, there were things that the meeting with you, the one-on-one, that I
Mhm.
wasn't sure of, that I was able to say, hey, like I really don't understand that, and you would right away, we would go over it live. Like, here, let me show you how to walk through this. I'm not sure where to find this information. Here's the link to this. Like all those little things were super helpful. Man, I'm getting flashbacks of Zoom calls that I've had with quote unquote mentors.
Yeah.
And it's like you have a 20-minute call or a 30-minute call, and they're looking over your stuff, but not helping you do anything. Like, just, it's, well, maybe you should try this or maybe you should try that. But it's really like a good mentor notices where you're stuck and pulls you out of the fire.
Yeah.
Gives you that okay, I can see that you're really stuck here. Let me help you out. Blah blah blah. And that really frees people. It allows students to go from that paralyzed state to, you have a little bit more hope. Let me move forward. Let me take another step forward. Does that make sense? A lot of coaches don't understand that. They don't understand what it takes to take someone that may have natural raw talent to really do something great in this type of business, and give them maybe some extra grace to pull them through, because eventually they are going to take the reins and run with it. Like me, like I'm that type of
Yeah.
person where it's like, I may need a little bit more help in the beginning, because I may
Yeah.
start off a little slow, but the moment I grasp this, I'm running. You know what I mean? Like I'm going after it. And you gave me that. Like you gave me the coaching that I needed, you know, that just but got me to where I'm at right now.
Dude, yeah, because I recall that, and like, yeah, I mean, you did need a little bit of extra support, but I also appreciate the fact that, like, one, you asked the questions instead of just like staying quiet.
Mm.
But then two, it's like,
Right, right.
I also appreciate the fact that I'm like, hey man, I'm not tech savvy, I don't know anything, and I oftentimes like working with that type of individual because it's like, cool, you're not going to overcomplicate things, you're just going to do what I tell you and follow the steps,
Right,
and
right,
like
right, right.
they usually
Right,
end up getting a better result because people
right,
that know a lot of things sometimes end up overcomplicating.
right.
You know what I mean? So that was like, just super cool, to kind of see you just go through that transition. And then now it's like you went from, oh, I don't understand this, I need some extra help, to like, oh, now I'm doing it by myself. Now I'm
Right,
creating SOPs. Now I'm hiring other people that
right,
can like do this for me. So that
right.
was like, it's just, and that's been in 6 months, dude.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
it takes people six
Crazy,
months to even just figure out what the hell they're doing.
crazy.
It's just
No,
like,
look, it takes people, how many years does it take people to make what I'm making today?
yeah,
How many years? It took me 6 months, but how many years does it take people when they're getting a degree? And
yeah,
hopefully their degree even pays that much. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, for the most part,
100%.
the average degree doesn't even pay 20K a month. So for the
Yeah.
person that's in school for, and I'm not knocking that. Like, I respect everyone that goes to school and gets a degree, but it just shows like, man, if you have somewhat of a passion in this, you know,
Yeah.
to think that the investment is not worth it is madness, because you'll spend $40,000
Yeah.
minimum to get a
Yeah.
degree in something that may not even pay you a fraction of the return. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
100%.
it's still mind-boggling to me. I knew it was always possible, but it's very different when you did it, when it's tangible, like you're actually experiencing, wow. And you know what? Going to the what was it called? The gathering that we did
The collective,
in
the event.
Texas,
Yeah.
the collective in Texas,
Yeah.
um, and being able to hear from the different students, you know, someone who's 24 years old, 25 years old, making $40,000 a month. Yo, don't tell me that, because I'm
Yeah.
freaking 37, bro, and I will outwork anybody. Like, don't
Yeah.
tell me that's possible. You know what I mean? So, bro, hearing that, dude, yo, that really just did something to me, man. It really
Yeah.
did something to me when I left there, knowing that these are the numbers that's possible in this business. So
Yeah.
it's like,
And
yeah,
and the
yeah,
reason why I get so passionate about this, going back to why this program is called Freedom on Demand, you know what I mean? Like
right,
initially, right? It's
right,
like,
right,
well, it's like you can make this kind of money but yet life is still pretty good. You
Right.
know what I mean? You still have freedom. You still have time flexibility. You can
Right.
still, go take your wife to these games and like not necessarily be like super stressed out about am I gonna be
Right.
making money or not, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so like it's like I said, you're like your clients are gonna make more money because you're actually helping them get an outcome. You're gonna make more money because they're gonna stick with you longer. And you're actually gonna work less because you're having to go shoot less often because you're letting the ads distribute the video, and the video then is gonna pull more weight. So you don't have to make so many of them, So
Right.
then that buys back your time, that gives you leverage,
Right.
right? And so like even the guy that's doing like 45K or whatever, it's like it's just him and two other people.
Right.
It's just like profit margins are insane. Like he lives a pretty good life, And even the guy that's doing, 70K,
Right.
75 or whatever, it's
Right.
like, yeah, dude, I mean, yeah, work from home, like, I get to hang out with my family and, do what I want to do. It's like, well, great, And to me, that's what's so cool about this, because again, my philosophy around this is like business is a means to an end. Hell yeah, let's make money. Hell yeah, let's provide for our families, all those things. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, let's not forget the most important thing. It's like our families
Right.
and our legacy, raising our kids, like all that stuff. And so back to the event, it's so good just being in a room with people that are a little bit ahead of you, a little bit behind you, and just you can leave with that energy. Like that's why I love doing the events, because it's just like unlocks for everybody. And I think what's cool about being part of a collective or community is that like we're all the same person, we're all working towards the same thing, have the same values, same interests. And I think when you can like have that combination, like it's just really cool to like, dude, this person is not any smarter than me.
Right.
This person is not any more talented than me.
Right. Right.
If they did it, I can do it too. And
Right.
I had one guy tell me one time, it's like, what's cool about being part of the community? It's like they said this was that you can borrow the beliefs from everybody else. You can borrow
Facts.
your beliefs from the
Facts.
mentor. You can borrow the beliefs from the other members,
Yes.
and that is just it's like it can be a little intangible. It's like a little unquantifiable, but like once you live it, you're like, dude, yes,
So true.
because 95% of being successful in business is just what's
Yes.
going on here.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think that for sure is another huge thing.
It's so powerful. Like the same guys in the mentorship right now that I was grabbing confidence and belief from at the time are calling my phone for confidence and belief. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild to
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? Like and I think it just goes to show and this is back to what you just said, the power of belief, man. Like this program offers everything and some to be successful in this organization. I remember laying on my bed at 3 o'clock in the morning crying because another truck driver quit in Atlanta. My son is on a ventilator. Money is in the red, and I have to fly back again to Atlanta from Miami because these guys keep quitting on me, leaving my truck on the side of the road, not giving me my truck back, and I'm just like, God, like, this is stressing me out. And my wife is like, babe, like, something's got to give. This is not, you shouldn't be in this mental state, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, my perspective on hard, what we consider difficult or hard, might be a little bit different.
Yes.
Stepping into this business. What is hard in this business is like troubleshooting meta and go high level. That's hard. You know what I mean?
People don't understand, dude. People don't understand like how privileged of a business model we have.
It's insane, bro. Insane. Yeah. Like this business does not cause me to cry myself to sleep at night. It doesn't.
And that's why I really appreciate your story, because it's like you've built other businesses. Like, how freaking hard it is. You know what I mean? Like it is building a brick and mortar business where you have like liabilities and assets and inventory too, machinery. Like I say this all the time, but I'm like, dude, you have no idea. Like you can start a business from your house, from your apartment, with a laptop and a $2,000 piece of equipment.
Right.
Like, in what world could you do that? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, and then yeah, like, people get hung up on investing into this. It's like, dude, you have no
Yeah.
clue.
No clue. No clue. My clothing line, my custom fashion business, which was probably my first business that I had with my first marriage, where we were able to like quit our jobs and stuff like that. It was my first legitimate business, right?
Yeah.
Um, and in that business, like I was hand making shoe designs for 8 to 9 hours a day in my living room. Like that's all I'm doing. Because when orders are coming in, I'm having to fulfill those orders, and it was custom design. So I'm having to literally, till my hands are freaking red and sore, make shoes all day long. Couldn't leave my house, couldn't, hop on a plane and still work. No, I was
Yeah.
subject to where I was doing what I was doing. And again, like the difference, there's no the only thing that requires me to sweat in this business is when I choose to offer a service for my clients where I was like, I'll go out and get some B-roll footage of my clients working on a roof or something like of that matter, right? But I choose that. I don't have
Yeah.
to do that in order to make money in this business. So it's
Yeah.
like again, the type of work that is required more than anything is self-belief. Just belief.
Yeah, man. That's epic. Thank you for sharing that. Take me back to like, okay, you're doing the program. You're like, at first when you started, you were trying to work with real estate and I think some interior design, different things like that. Tell the audience like your journey from like wanting to do that, and then like you started running ads. We're like, hey, dude, let's get you some clients. Let's start running ads for yourself, and then walk us through like your first sale, which was a banger. But it'd be cool for people to kind of go through that.
In the beginning, yeah, my goal was to work in the real estate space. So I was going after real estate clients because actually that was the first client that I had, which was a commercial broker. I just hadn't started ads with him, just content. So after some time of doing my ads, I realized that I was getting a good amount of leads coming in, but I wasn't getting the clientele that I guess were operating in the price point that I was looking for when it came to what I was charging for my services. So we started to play around with the idea of moving into a different space, home service space, and after doing some research within the community, the student asking different students what they're doing, what it looks like, what are the price points there. I was pretty much kind of set that this is the direction that I wanted to go in. I had already had like I don't know, maybe 14 posts or so up
Mm-hmm.
that was all catered towards like real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately changed everything. Like I started creating content that was geared towards home service businesses. I even changed the name of my Instagram
Yeah.
and started running the ads from there. And I think not too long after is when I got my first roofing client.
Yeah. I
And
think if I recall correctly, I think like in your call outs, the first thing that you did was you said Miami CEOs.
oh yeah, that was my first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first ad. Right, right,
Yeah. And I really like that because I was like, I think one of the biggest things when you're running ads is a good advice for everybody listening. It's like you want to call out companies that actually can afford your services, right? I
right,
think like one of the mistakes people do all the time, it's like they just do a call out. And this is what's hard about real estate, like because most real estate agents are broke, like they can't afford, your services, right?
right.
And it's
The
like,
majority, unfortunately, the majority.
yeah, the majority. And so I think just even like there's several ways to filter and qualify, but I think even just saying the word CEO was very strategic in that nature because it like whoever thinks themselves as a CEO is different than like a solopreneur, right?
Correct,
And
correct.
so I think that actually that first ad, if I recall correctly, brought you your first big home service client,
Right.
if I recall.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. And then, so tell us what happens with this first client you brought on. That was your home service.
Um, yeah. So this was a gentleman that took his business very seriously. As a matter of fact, he was the first client to ever ask me like, hey, can I speak to a reference? Can I speak to someone else that you've worked with?
Yeah.
Which threw me for a loop because I had not yet worked with a roofing company, you know.
And this, so
Um,
yeah, so this was a roofing client in the home
this was
service space.
correct. This was a roofing client, and he wanted to speak to someone that I've worked with, and of course, like I have nothing to hide. So I was like, yeah, sure. I have someone, or I think it was like two people that I allowed him to speak with. I knew that they were going to have great things to say about me because of my work ethic and just how the relationship that we have with one another.
And I'm assuming this was your real estate client and maybe
Yeah,
someone else.
real estate client and then luxury interior designer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they got to speak or not. I'm not sure if the luxury interior designer got to speak, but I do know he spoke with the real estate client.
Sure.
And it went well. And we end up pulling the trigger, on that. And I believe that. Do you want me to go into the numbers?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So it was just under $5,000 a month for this client, which was awesome. And
If I can say specific, I think you closed them for 47.50.
correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I really want to highlight this because I think you did an amazing job of this
Right.
because you sold them on content plus ads. How many pieces of content were you going to do per month for them?
It was 10 30-second reels max per month. So you get a 4-hour session. Whatever you get out of that is what you get. So if you're having a hard day that day and you only get 6, you get 6,
That's on you. Right. Yeah. Cool.
Typically my clients are all knocking out 10 after they're coached through it. The process, they get used to it. They're knocking out 10, but so it's a max 10 and then it's 2 to 3 ad videos as needed.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was the first time you sold ads and you have never sold ads before, number one. And then number two, it's not like you had any case studies to say like, oh yeah, I got this other client, amazing results or whatever. You also closed them on. Most people that I also see in the space and that I've talked to in the past are like, oh, selling people for like 1,000, 2,500. Maybe they'll sell a one-time project for 5K. Or,
Right.
Sometimes it's a little bit, maybe 10, 15, but it's
Right,
one
right.
time. Here you are selling a little bit less than 5K per month. Was it a 3-month contract or a 6-month contract?
6.
6-month contract.
Yeah.
So that's $30,000 right there, like
Right.
in just contract revenue, contract value. Dude, how did you pull that off?
I was confident, bro.
Yeah.
I was confident because again, for me, I knew what I would be able to leverage in the group. Mm-hmm. I knew if there was something that I didn't understand, like I was going to get help from you. I was going to get help from the rest of the students in the mentorship. And then I saw it work on my own business.
Yeah.
Like my case study, the case study I gave him was my own business. I told him what my leads were, how much my leads were costing per lead. I let him know those numbers. And I told him, if it's working for me, it's going to work for you. The same quality I'm doing on my leads, the same principles I'm applying for the ads and the scripts and the methods that actually work, I'm going to apply, to your business. And he trusted that process. I mean, I think one of the things that people tend to struggle with is they just don't, again, back to belief, they don't believe, and they think that it requires all of this pre-existing knowledge in a space in order to be effective at something. Like, no, there are very successful people doing what they do, making a ton of money, and they're really not that good at what they do, but they believe.
Yeah.
100%. You get what I'm saying? And that's not to say that I'm not good. I am good at what I do, and that's my clients can speak for that. The numbers that they're getting every month can speak for that. My roofing client that paid that money, grossed under $100,000 with $1,900 of ad spend in 30 days. So
I think were you at the event where you're like, oh, he just closed this deal, like a $49,000 roof or something like that?
No, it was only 20. It was the first deal that I closed with him was like only 20 something thousand. It was the next deal that was like 45,000.
Oh wow.
And then he just sent me 2 days ago another deal that closed for 49,000. Yeah.
So and then I really want to highlight this because like I think obviously what I'm helping people do is like, yeah, like let's make money, you know, like let's help you build your business. But I think most people struggle with, or they reach out to me because they want to get their clients a result. They want to get them
Right,
an outcome, right? And
right.
so, you know, I think you've done an amazing job of just helping clients do that. Like, so your roofing client, like within the first 30 days, they did what? Like a little bit less than
90, it
100K,
was
right?
90.5K in 30 days.
Yeah. And then you've also, the cool thing is that, okay, well, it wasn't just a one-time fluke.
No.
You've had some other clients since then. Can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit some of these
My
other?
my my brand new window client has done 50,000 in 10 days. Just shy of 50,000 in 10 days um of the ad campaign launch. And he's spending $70 a day.
Yeah,
So I
that's
mean, you look at the ROI on that, and he has, and then he has, meetings in the pipeline, from the ads that are coming in. I think
yeah,
my pool client, we brought in 41 real leads, lead forms, only lead forms, no DMs, but lead forms in 30 days for my
yeah.
pool client. He's about to close a deal first. I think he just texted to me. The guy, um, I think it's $72,000.
Dude,
$72,000 for a pool job.
get out of here, man. Yeah,
So it works, brother. Like it it works. And I'm only, I think the beauty is I'm only gonna get better at this
yeah,
because it's 6 months, dude. Like there's still so much room for me to learn and grow and hone in on my skills and hone in on my understanding how to leverage, lead gen software that we use, like all of it. Like there's just so much opportunity.
for sure.
Um, and that's only gonna add to my mindset. That's only gonna add to my confidence.
Yeah, so I tell people all the time is like, this is to give people relief. I'm like, look, dude, this is the worst you'll ever be.
Right.
Like, just
Right.
accept that and be okay with it. And like, let's keep pushing
Right.
forward. You know.
Right.
So, Giovanni, are you like some ad expert, bro? Like, how are you getting these crazy results for clients, dude?
No. No, I'm not. I mean, if ad expert means that you have 10 plus years in the industry, you went to school for this,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. I'm not. I have been diligent in this program for 6 months. I have been putting in a lot of hours,
Hmm.
working hard, and I listen to what I'm told and I apply what I'm being taught, and
Yeah.
I believe in it.
Yeah.
And for me, all it took was for me to get my first DM saying I'm interested. That's all it took for me. The moment I got my personal first DM saying I'm interested,
Yeah.
I was like, this works. I
Yeah.
only needed one, bro, because that's, if you can get one, you can get 1,000.
Yeah.
This is just the way it works. If you can get one, you can get 1,000. And the moment that was when the moment that's when the the system of lead acquisition was proven to me. When I launched my first ad campaign and someone reached out to me and said I'm interested in the service, it was a wrap for me. I
Yeah.
knew from that point on that, okay, this is it.
Dude, that's so powerful, man. I think this is a really good closing point. you know, I mean, I don't know. I guess, is there anything else that you think, like, you know, maybe the audience should be aware of or conscious of, or I don't know, say anything else you'd want to share that you thought was like super helpful for you?
Oh, I don't know, man. This is I wasn't trying to get emotional, but
Take your time, dude.
I've been through some difficult things in life, and I I thank God every day that I didn't give up on just pursuing my passion for entrepreneurship. And by the grace of God, like you came across my feed, you know, and you were authentic, you were real, and I took a risk, bro. I took a risk and I took a chance, and it paid off. I don't know how else to articulate it. Like, I'm someone that has come from the trenches, bro. Like, I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up with parents that were successful as entrepreneurs, or, or had degrees, or I grew up on welfare. You know what I'm saying? And my parents struggled my first 12 years of life. You know, it was seven of us in a two-bedroom apartment. Um, it wasn't until I got a little older that my things got better from my family. But even then, I didn't have an example in my life to teach me how to make millions or anything like that. And this was
Yeah.
that opportunity. This was that opportunity, and I don't care who you are, or what you've been through, or what your livelihood was like. Um, if you believe in yourself and you give it everything, this is an opportunity that's gonna pay off. And it hasn't just changed like my life, but like my daughter, who has watched me. She's 14, but she's watched me try different things, and she's even asked me before in an innocent way, not knowing better, but she's like, Dad, why do you keep trying these different things? Like, why don't you just work or this or that? And that might be something she's heard from her mom, or whatever the case may be. you know
Sure.
and now to see her like smile and be like, oh wow, you got another client, and you know that matters to me. That matters because now
Yeah,
she's
dude.
seeing that, like, the work that I put in it's paying off, and that's gonna plant a seed in her life, knowing
Well,
that, like, it doesn't matter how long it takes me. If I believe in something and I put in the work, eventually, like, it can pay off. So this is, I get emotional because this is, for me, way bigger than this.
yeah.
Way bigger than this. This is about principle. You know,
Yeah.
and thank God, like, again, this was the opportunity to do it. Thank God that you're someone who is authentic, and you're not just looking to take people's money, but you actually care about the success of people, and that is hard to find. So, like, you'll always be one of those guys in my life that played a tremendous role in the success of my family and myself. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm super thankful. I'm super thankful. And I know I send you messages often, just kind of like every time I have that moment where I'm just reflecting on where my life is right now.
Yeah.
I find it important to remind you that, hey, bro, I'm super thankful.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. I think growing up in church too, my pastor would always says like you give honor where honor is due.
Right.
You know,
Correct. Correct.
and you have no idea how much those messages mean, what they mean to me, man. So I really appreciate that. Now I'm getting emotional.
Yeah, bro.
We're cut from the same cloth, man, you and me. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate the fact that you were willing to freaking click on that ad
Right.
and willing to book a call with me and be willing to have the courage to tell your wife, hey, let's talk to
Right.
this guy. Because
Right.
oftentimes it's just like maybe they're not like fully for it, and then you back off and you're like, okay, well, no, I don't want to push the subject or whatever, right? I think the fact that you were headstrong and willing to do it, and then on top of that, had the audacity to be like, just talk to him, And so I really appreciate that, dude. I think you being part of the program, like, obviously it's great you being part of here. You've obviously gained a lot, but I also think you're giving a lot to all the other members too. And then, you're also leading by example, not just for your family, but for every other member in the program too. I know this is going to be super motivational for them as well to
Right.
hear. And yeah, man, I just really appreciate you, being a part of it.
Same,
So thank
bro.
you so much for willing to join me on this call.
Yep.
Anybody who's on the fence, I guess, final words, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say pull the trigger, man. Pull the trigger. You're gonna have a ton of help, a ton of guidance, in so many different ways. Everyone on the team, not just Lewis, who's your mentor, but everyone on the team has a different perspective. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be able to pick my brain further. You know, guys are doing it all the time, calling my phone, texting me, DMing me, asking me different questions, you know, and the same way that they poured into me at one point, like, I have that desire to pour back, you know, and give back, you know, because I'm here because in part because of them, you know, and because of Lewis. So I would just say, look, you're getting a ton of help. And if you have belief in yourself and you can leverage the belief in, you know, the mentor and the rest of the guys that are a part of the team that have achieved success, you're going to find success as well. So don't even hesitate. Pull the trigger.
Let's go, dude. All right. Well, book a call. Let's chat. And you can come hang out with me and Giovanni and everybody else.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much, brother. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much. We'll check back in once you hit 50K.
Right. Soon come. Soon.
All right.
Soon.
In 6 months, maybe less.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, brother.
See you, man.